What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Verratti. He is now, for some reason, I don't quite get why he is left mid. He may play left mid. I don't personally know. I've not watched PSG in a long time, and we've got a left mid Verratti. Obviously, during in-game, we change him into centre mid. There's no way that he can be a left mid card. His animations, his stats, all lean towards, personally, more of a centre mid, someone who's going to pass, he's going to bring the ball forward, and then he may be able to track back a little bit. But we're going to be looking through kind of Verratti and just see what you can actually do with him, his best position, his worst position, and just kind of see how useful he is, as predominantly his 86 for the past couple of years has been known more as a fodder card. Somebody who you just put into an SBC, you're not really too pleased to see him. I'd quite happily have this card. I think any sort of special I'd absolutely love, but I think for me, the one thing that surprised me is his kind of like vision on the ball was absolutely fantastic. More of that to come. What do you think of Verratti as a left mid? Let me know down below if we go into him. He is a 4-star. Already a great start. He is 5'5", a very small player. I don't even know how small players actually go to, if there is like a 5'4" or 5'3". That's kind of like a question that, let me know down below if you know a player that is under 5'5". I believe he is very small in comparison to a lot of players. In general, high attacking work rate, medium defensive. He is the brand new left mid for PSG, obviously trying to take up Neymar's position. How dare he, until Neymar gets a cam version and then no one cares. But in terms of what I thought with this card, because he's coming in at about 240, I thought that's very expensive, and it's annoying actually, because I bought him at 190 when he was about 220. He went down to about 205, so if I literally held a day, I could have made probably an extra 40k on this card with tax, which is very annoying, but you never know. Sometimes I hold these cards and it absolutely bites me, and it's the problem with doing reviews, is you constantly getting stabbed on tax. With needing to do player reviews straight off the bat, you end up losing a hell of a lot, and you have to kind of pick and choose who you go for. But Verratti was one of them ones I thought, he looked like his stats look really good, like really good. He's got all of the right positions. He's got 88 pace with 94 acceleration. I love that. The height is nice in terms of kind of like being able to be very agile and get round players. Obviously 4'4". He's got shooting wise 95 positioning with the 85 finishing. I can't really argue with that. Don't expect him to score a lot, but with them stats, I'm seeing something different from him. Passing wise was exquisite. Some of the passing that he was doing is just unreal. You'll see some of the gameplay clips. They are brilliant passing. I know it's very kind of like player controlled, like you're telling him to pass, but the execution is perfect. Dribbling wise, being 5'5", he can get around quite quickly. His turns are nice and sharp. He's very smooth on the ball, and honestly, it was an absolute pleasure to play with. I really do rate this card, and I think if I was looking for an untradeable freeze card, I'd happily take him. 95 composure, 92 agility, 95 balance. Defending wise, not really there. We can kind of expect that. He was more of a kind of attacking mid, but more of a centre mid that attacks, if you get what I mean. He's not generically a cam, but he's more of a centre mid that pushes forward, not necessarily the vice versa. Physicality, it's somewhat there. Good aggression, good stamina, not really any strength. 5'5", not expecting him to do too much there. And in terms of trait, we've got outside of the foot shot, we've got flair. Absolutely brilliant player. I've really got not much more to say. I just want to show you what the gameplay is. So here's the gameplay, and then we'll go into the overall. So obviously with Verratti, I didn't play him as a left mid. During the start of the game, before the positions are completely set, you do find him kind of being chilling there, but then he comes kind of like more middle ground. I like him in the middle. He works well there, and honestly, he just did well. He really did well in terms of being on the ball, being able to shift it, and just overall nice play. We see him on the left here, and he's just passing with Verratti. Obviously good links in PSG, and we see a cracking ball, little 1-2 straight down a wing, and there we go. We've got 3 forward against 1 defender practically there. Luckily managed to get the pass and a beautiful goal, all coming from that first pass, and I think it's straight off the bat. Actually, no, it might not be. We win the ball back here. We get the ball, goes into Millet, who was an absolute Donny in this. Ligue 1 for the League One was absolutely amazing. He absolutely smashed it for me. But we see that cracking ball there. Lovely ball into Ben Yedder. Do make a mistake myself. Why I tried to go backwards, don't quite understand it myself. But we do go straight back into it. And I think it's here. We get the pass and we see him peeling. Look at this pass here. Straight past the defenders. That is absolutely exquisite. Again, don't manage to capitalise on it. But it's beautiful that he's managing to find something like that. And here we go as more of a defensive duty. He's managed to kind of wind his way right back into that centre-back role. And he smashed it. He's absolutely smashed it. And I really did enjoy playing with him. His 86 was absolute trash. Obviously fodder all day long. And I think last year he got a couple of informs. Nothing really worth telling about. And I think this card has genuinely made him usable. Not necessarily meta or not necessarily foot champs, but he is usable. Definitely. And I think just in general, he's a nice player. You see there, again, he finds the pass. It's a goal. Obviously, bit offside, but he's finding it. And that's what I like from him. He manages to do it and he manages to find the balls. Like something like that is just absolutely cracking. It's a good centre mid to have passing in your team. If we do go into the overall of him then, we've got 240 on the clock. Not bad, 268 on the PC in terms of like what I say with the stats. Lovely stuff, can't really argue with much of it. And then we look at the chemistry style. I'm thinking Hunter, absolutely cracking stats. Cannot argue with them one bit. 96 pace with the 97 shooting. Obviously maxes out his acceleration. We've got passing, we've got dribbling. He's just a fantastic player all round. If we do take it off and have a look at a comparison from his 86, you can see the massive jump in 24 pace, 24 shooting, and plus 20, is it 27? Oh, he loses 27 of his defending. So that kind of like takes away more of the centre mid role and puts him up into that kind of cam role. Do I think he plays better as a cam than a CM? I personally prefer him as a CM. I just think he works better. You could definitely play him as a cam, but I think he's better at assisting, in my opinion. I personally used him as a Lamb, left attacking mid, just because I wanted to see what he was like more on the left. But then I don't want him specifically being left wing, so I like to move him inside. I like to move him kind of back a little bit. I don't want him just up front onto that left wing. I just don't think he's going to be as effective there. And in terms of generations, like you say, we've got a few of him. He's 28 years old, started in, I want to say that, is that the Italian league? I want to say Italian league, and then went to PSG pretty much straight off the bat. Team of the season after team of the season, informs, team of the season, team of the season, team of the season, team of the season. You can see the pattern. He always manages to get something in the game, and this year he's managed to get a position change. I'm very interested in him. I think he's got some nice stat upgrades, and like I say, it makes him somewhat usable. And you can see from the price, if this card was absolutely rubbish, he would not be 240k on the second day after lightning rounds. It just would not be happening. He'd be under 100k or just over, depending on what the 88 market's like, and he just would not be accessible for anybody to use in anything. But I think with the Max 1 League coming out, he helped quite a lot. Him, Millet, Ben Yedder, and the Player of the Month, who I cannot remember the name of, was absolutely fantastic. The only problem with him is he's taken a vital position up. Neymar's there, Player of the Month Bamba's there. You've then got obviously Rashford, Son, a lot of good players chilling on that left mid. So for me, I think he will be more of a sub. If anything, I think that's where he's going to go. And it's a shame that he is a centre mid and they haven't just put him as like a centre mid cam or something like that. So you could either bring him back in position, but he does take up a vital position. And that is kind of like the downgrade for him, in my opinion. He is, you've got to think, if you're putting him in your team, who are you replacing? That for me is a big position right there. It's normally some of the great players are on left mid, and if you've got someone like a prime Ronaldinho, for instance, and I'm being over exaggerate here, you are not going to put Verratti left mid on over someone like that. So you got to think end game. You got to think who your team is. I think he's going to work in a Ligue 1 team for objectives. Whether he's foot champs material is the next question. I think he might just miss the post because of who's in that position, but definitely could be a sub and really put some work in, really. I think his passing, like I say, is his main attribute and was absolutely stonking. In terms of links, Mbappe, storyline, Bernat, we've got obviously Freeze, Marquinhos, who is next review, and he is is next level. A really, really good player. So I can't wait to share with you him, and then other players. We've got Goretzka, Witsel as kind of like the DM, CM, cams, all rolled into one. I thought he's a good player. I really rate him. I've personally given him an 8 out of 10. I think if he was a centre mid, I'd be looking at 8.5. And I think then if we got kind of like more of an upgrade on the defense as well, where they didn't really take too much, which wouldn't be too fair because I think he'd be looking at maybe like a 90 rated by then I think that definitely would push him up into the 9s in my opinion. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button, and I'll see you all for the next one. Peace.